just helping Waste with stuff whenever he needed it. Not
So
a lot, but
what rank did you end up being?
I ended up being a Fawn before I left and reformed the NR11 a second time.
Oh, so we can talk about that now. So why did you reform the NR11? Did the NR37 disband, or did you decide
No,
to leave?
NR37 was still around, and a lot of NR11 guys was pushing me to reform the Reds one more time to give it a last shot, and I ended up reforming it in about December of 2014.
And how'd that take off?
It only lasted a month, so it took off at first. It was big and everything, but we started recruiting, let's say, a lot of trolls into the regiment, and then it quickly just died off. So it was a pretty much a fail.
And I'm sure that was pretty difficult to have to deal with. Now, after you guys disbanded, what happened after that? Do you remember?
I decided to. I saw the 84E, which was Damien's regiment at the time, and
Mm-hmm.
I used to be good friends with Damien. We used to talk a good amount during that time, and I was like, Damien, I want to help you rebuild your regiment, because he only had about 5 or 6 active guys at the time, so I decided to join the 84E with Damien and just give it a shot and try to rebuild the 84E.
Now, what happened when you were in the 84E?
Our attendance quickly improved. I recruited a lot of people in there, and that's when Marceau decided to come back, and
So at this point, were you able to have a big impact on the communities you joined?
Kinda. I wasn't really. I was kind of known, but not too much at the time because I was still like, I was joining all these smaller regiments, just trying to help them out. And, yeah, so that kind of had an impact, but it wasn't like major or anything.
Now, what the 84E do? I want to hear, what was their biggest failure that you guys had? Do you remember a failure that you had while being in there?
I guess the biggest thing was losing the 1v1 the Fancies regiment. I
So
guess.
the 1TES is what they call it?
I believe so at the time. Not 100% sure, but I believe that's
Uh-huh.
what they were called.
What was the best success that you had while being in that, right?
I would say improving the attendance, we started out with 5 or 6 guys. We ended up going like 20 plus, and, you just see there was people like Creed, Sons, Puggles, and people just improving their melee in that regiment that was helping us become, or trying to become, one of the more solid, good regiments in the game. Either that never happened, but it was a lot of people just practicing their melee, and attendance was booming during that time.
Now, what happened? How did they end up disbanding, and were you with them when they disbanded?
I decided to leave them because let's just say they had issues with Weast, and since I'm one of those Weast guys, I had to leave. And
Now, what's Weast?
Weast is this gaming group that I didn't. I'll say that me and Disaster Portals, a bunch of other guys, we decided to make in late 2013, early 2014. It's a gaming group that pretty much in our 11 and 22 guys, we stuck it out, and it's a really fun like gaming community that still goes around now. There's the Weast Army. They're still around, so it's a fun group of guys.
Now, when you of course there were issues with Weast, but where'd you go after that?
I decided to join the Chaniky's regiment for about a month. The 4E Hus is what they were called at the time. They ended up like name changing to 75th, which ended up winning TNWL League One. So I joined Chaniky for a little bit before I left them.
So after you joined Cherokee and you went through that, what happened there after that regiment? Because it seems like to me, how do you remember how many regiments you were in?
I do. On my profile, that's pretty much. I've been in a lot of regiments. During that time, it was people having issues with Weast, like 84E and Chaniky's regiment. Those are the regiments I left because they had issues with Weast. A lot of drama with that, so that's the reason I left both of those regiments.
What type of drama?
I let's just say one had to do with Damien's sister. Another one is, I guess,
Ooh.
something Chaniky talking bad about Whis. So that was kind of the drama that happened there at that time.
Sounds more like a cult than Weast.
Yeah, it was kind of bad.
Oh my gosh.
Whis was hated by a lot of the community during that time.
So what time frame are we on right now? What time? What year?
We're in 2015, about to hit the summer. That's the time period.
All right. So from 2016 to the time that we started to to know each other again. How long was that period, you think? What'd you do in between then? Any notable achievements between then?
Um, I helped Montfort and Maxwell rebuild the 34E to its glory when Silence left it and took a bunch of members, made his own reg. Me, Montfort and Maxwell decided to help rebuild 34E to make it become one of the known better regiments in the NA community. Another one was me joining 45E with Nappy's reg. They were a pretty good regiment at the time. I'll say the first 45E I was in, that was probably the most stacked one I've been in.
Uh huh.
I could be wrong about that, but that was definitely I guess the most notable things from 2015. But um
So now I want to test your memory, because now I want to get onto the aspects of the history that we knew together. Because I know we've been friends for a while, and we were in like different communities. But while I was in the AAF, weren't you in Puba's regiment, if I
yeah,
recall?
yeah, I was in Puma Regiment for close to a year, the 2E shift.
And what happened in the 2A chefs? Because I know you were really loyal to them for a really long time.
hmm
So could you
Well,
tell me a little bit about Puba and that group of guys there?
so yeah, Puba was in the 34E with me, and he decided when it disbanded, he decided to make his own regiment. And at the time, I decided to join 45E because I wanted to join another competitive regiment. So when I joined 45E, Puba had his own regiment called the 102E.
Uh huh.
And when 45E pretty much disbanded, I decided to go join Puba full time since I'd known him from 34E. We built a really good relationship, and I
Hmm.
know I saw him with a new group of guys. I was like, here's my chance, finally stick with one regiment for a while and show that I'm loyal and, have fun with a regiment that's not competitive.
Did you ever have a problem with being seen as like a reg hopper?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, people might have called me that at the time. I can completely understand since I was like bouncing around regiments in 2015. It was kind of stupid of me, but I kind of wish I didn't do that a lot during that time. But yeah, I could understand if people called me that during that time period.
So while you were in the 2E, how did that go near the end of it? What
Um,
were some notable achievements too? Because I remember you guys fighting the AAF before.
so I know people won't call this really an achievement because we won League Three at NWL, and anything I know is like League Three. There's no competition. I mean,
Uh
those
huh.
guys that Puba recruited, a lot of them literally had like less than 20 hours into the game when I joined. So like trying to teach them how to melee and just getting them used to like line battles and formations and all this stuff. It wasn't really an easy translation at first, but once we had a couple guys start practicing melee, that's when it like really started to improve. The regiment started to improve. We started to become a lot better.
Because I do remember, I think you guys actually beat us, if I recall.
We might have. I
It
can't
was like
fully
it was like
remember.
4-6, or maybe it was a tie. I don't know. It was one of those. But didn't you also clutch in that match too?
Um, I clutched against I believe I can't remember what regiment it was, but
17 FRI or something.
yeah, 17th FR. I clutched like a 1v6 against them. That was the play that really let us win League Three. I think if I didn't clutch that, we would have probably lost to the 58 in League Three. So that was a very
That's
good moment.
crazy. That must have made you feel pretty good at that moment right there.
Oh yeah, it definitely did. Everyone went crazy.
Any other notable clutches you've had?
Oh man, where do I
Yeah,
start?
where do I
Um,
start? That's a
Actually,
brag right
when I
there.
was in the 102E, I clutched a 1v24 in Getty's event. That was pretty insane.
Holy crap! Did you just like what? What? How'd you
Um,
do that?
that was that was a spur of the moment. That was when there was USMC, Regaltino, and PLG alive, and I just started spamming. People were team killing. I had to like block and a lot of footwork involved in it, and surprisingly, the last person I killed was Shine from the 1ER PLG. Definitely good melee. That was a hard fight, but once I killed him, I clutched the round.
Oh, what did you
Everyone went
feel
crazy.
after? Oh my gosh,
My
what
my
was the
my heart
chat?
was beating a little bit. Everyone was going crazy, and Getty was like really surprised. And surprisingly, I think the USMC did a training after that clutch, so that was pretty hilarious. But yeah, that was very intense.
Like, how did you feel during that and after you finished it? Like, what were the
During
final
it,
moments with
I was
Shine?
just I was just really, my heart started to beat. I started to shake a little bit because that was like the
Uh,
biggest clutch I would ever pulled off when I was thinking about it at the time. And once I pulled it out, I felt really relieved, and the whole chat was going crazy. Everyone was like Nickole MVP, and the chat,
Holy
everyone
crap!
in TeamSpeak was really shocked, and yeah.
I think those are the moments where it's like, this is why I play NW. You know?
I think another clutch I had was a 2v9 with Mackle, I think against your regiment, or it was against the 4th, one of the two regiments, but that was another clutch I had.
Let's forget about that if it was against mine. You know? Didn't ever happen. All
It was
right.
one of the two regiments, I can't remember, but yeah.
Um. So those are wow. That's really impressive. 1v24. Keep that in the books. Um. So after you were with the 2E, where'd you go after that? Because I remember trying to ask you to join the AF several
Oh
times.
yeah, you always did.
Well, because you were like, I
So,
needed to. I needed that NCO that
so
I was lacking for my whole life.
yeah, I remember that. So when the 2E Chef, I think we were doing TNWL,
Yeah.
and when we lost to some like really bad regiment because like no one practiced, and I got like 60 kills into 1v1. That's how bad people were playing. Is so I decided to leave the 2E Shove, and obviously that caused it to disband, and I took some months off before I rejoined Chaniky's version, the 75th for TNWL,
Uh huh.
and they got shreked by the 5080, so yeah, that
Oh, was
turned
it that
good.
one where it was 58E versus 71st?
No, 75th. That was oh yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
71st, the final one,
Yeah, I think that was the same
where they went to
season.
like double overtime and stuff.
Yeah, that was the same season.
And then what happened after that? You know, what happened after they got stomped?
Once 75th pretty much died, I decided to join the 45E again. You know, test my since I knew Nappy really well, we had a good
Still not
friendship.
the AF. Oh, I cry. I cry.
And
Uh-huh.
also during that time, I also joined Puba's reformed version of the 2E Chef called the First SH, which died after about 3 months. But yeah, him and Nappy's Urge died very
Rip.
quickly. So yeah,
They just got um yeah, I do remember Nappy's Reg dying, and I know I'm saying this a lot, but so what happened after that?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he
I've been
went through like
a lot
every
of regiments
single one.
died. Yeah, so after that,
They all died.
I
It's
decided
like,
to since I was in Poops Reg, and during my time at NW up to that point in the NA community, I decided to really like, people still at the time call me a bad meleeer and say I
uh-huh.
suck and everything, and I was like, it's time to prove myself, and to prove that I can be a very good melee impact in a regiment. So I had my options between 85E, which was Raph's or Nappy's regiment at the time, and then I had the LG, and since
And then the
the AF, yeah, that is true.
he said he joined,
And
and he cried on the inside. All right.
and then
Yeah.
I feel like during the time, I feel like the LG was the best place because I already joined Nappy's regiment multiple times,
Uh-huh.
and I feel like it would have went the same route to disband. So I decided to give the LG a shot. I always watched 71st, always admired how they played and how cheesy led, and how good they were at group fighting. So I decided to
And how
go
were you
join the LG.
accepted in the community?
What do you mean acceptance?
Like, when you joined, what were their thoughts of you, I guess, is the way to put it.
Um, I mean, Waste knew me from the NR37, so he knew I had some melee, skills, and I mean, obviously they accepted me because during the time, I'm trying to think. That was when I forgot when that was. I remember when 60, I was with 60E for whatever league that was, and once I joined the
NAPL, I
LG,
think.
yeah, when we beat LGMP in an NAPL, I decided to. I saw the LG was losing members, and I just felt like I want to help the LG, and I guess they accepted me, and history's on.
And the history happened. What did you do with the LG? What was your best achievement while being in there? Name off a couple.
Um, One was winning in NWL Season 7 with the LG. We beat notable regiments like the 32E, LAR. I can't remember if
Did you beat the 3?
85E was there. No, 3 Volt did. 3 Volt reformed after we won the NWL, but I guess beating 85E, LAR, 32E, those are notable things.
Who
And
was the last
also,
guy? Was it the 45E, or who were they?
who was the what? Sorry.
In season 7, who was the final challenge?
I believe it was the 85B guys, Nappy's regiment, actually. That was the hardest group to go against. But
Now, after you won that, wasn't there a conflict with a 30E some point in that?